Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to One Hub Racing Season 25, round number 6, as we head to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix. And no, I did not just try and practice that before we went live and before I was speaking to one of my lovely commentators in the commentary box, Mike Edwards. Mike, we got a sprint race coming up, one-shot qualifying, a wet to dry sprint race. I think we should be in for a really good evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we're here for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and as you mentioned, wet to dry is going to provide a good amount of strategy for the drivers to think about when is going to be the right time to switch over to the dry compound tires, when is the crossover, how quickly does the track dry. We're going to find out these questions in the upcoming sprint and, of course, feature race.
Yes, indeed. And with many people doing quite a bit of practice when they found out the weather, it was a mixture of scenarios that can prevail in this sprint race. So they got to be alert, and if they do not pit at the wrong time, and if they do pit at the right time, it could help them or even hinder them. So we'll have to wait and see. But last week, Tony, he didn't win last week. He got 4th place, but our race winner, his first race win in the actual P1 tier, would you believe? Casper got his first ever win in the P1 tier. We thought he was going to lose it due to penalties, but it turned out it was an NFA. And then Lukey got another best result in P2, currently sitting in 3rd in the standings, and also getting a nice podium was Jake as well. I think his incident wasn't that bad. But Casper, it was about time that he got his race victory last week in Singapore, because he definitely deserved it.
Yeah, his picks last week in Singapore was just absolutely incredible, and you saw it in qualifying as well. The initial pace that he had, and he just carried over into the race and was just in a different dimension last race. And honestly, we did see a few incidents that did happen last time out. So hopefully, some of the drivers would have brushed off the incidents from last week and come in tonight all ready to go racing again.
Yes, indeed. It's the creme de la creme, the P1 tier, One Hub Racing, and we're expecting some great action. And it will be one-shot qualifying to decide the grid for the sprint race. And then once the sprint race is over, the top 10 will be reversed, as well as any grid penalties from engine wear, or if any people have been naughty boys on track. So Tony currently leading the way in the standings on 82 points, and it's Axelot on 58, Lukey on 55, Casper on 51, Jake on 49, Matteo on 48, Callum and Armed on 47, Nick on 42, Ben JS on 37, Colin on 34, but he's not racing anymore, Jake on 18, Entity on 14, Waitsy on 11, Papa Squanch on 8 points, Larkin on 8 points as well, Konzo on 7, Samster on 6, Malvin got some decent points last time out with 4 points, Leroy in 3 points, Barrett hopefully in 3 points, but he's not going to be ready for the rest of the season because we do have a replacement of Arnold, who is returning back to One Hub Racing, replacing Barrett, and we've now got a full-time grid. So great to have Arnold back, of course. Kieran, obviously, of course, got points last week on debut. But Arnold, he showed some good results last season, and there's some results he didn't show good. But how's he going to fare, especially with his first race this season being a sprint race?
I think for Arnold, he's going to be going into today's race and just seeing where he measures up with the rest of the field. I think that's going to be the first and foremost. And obviously, he can set his expectations after that. But we are moments away from one-shot qualifying, Jess. And I'm excited to see who's going to come out on top here.
I'm really excited as well. So let's see who we go on board with. Well, we were going to go on board with Tony, but let's go on board with Axelot to make it different as he makes his way towards turn number 1. Very, very tight on entry through the ZRS, named after, of course, Ayrton Senna. I mean, we see quite a few people invalidating, so they've got to be careful around that. Keep as far to the right as you possibly can. Heading towards Sinalago, turn 4, and then up the hill through the kink in towards turn number 5. Sixth gear, 7th, and then up into 6th gear again in towards turn 6 and 7. Clip the right hand apex and make sure you're in 2nd gear on braking third on exit. Now heading towards 8, 9, and 10. Another tricky part of the circuit, and in towards the start of sector 3 now. And this is where you put your foot to the floor, which you can do on this game. Third gear on top of the hill through Jingsao, and this is going to be a very tidy lap from Axelot. Quite not enough for pole, but still P2. He has one of those drivers taking an engine penalty, so this will be very tidy for him. Axelot comes across the line in a P2, but it is Tony, our championship leader, who comes across the line in pole position.
Yep, great lap there from Tony Axelot, as you mentioned, doing a fantastic lap, and he's joining them on the front row. A driver that I was on board with was Jay Cole. He had a good first sector, but he fell away in the middle in the final sector.
Yeah, he fell off a little bit, which was a bit of a shame, but he was probably one of his PB laps, so very impressive. So that is your order then for qualifying. We've got Tony, then Axelot, Casper, Jake, Lukey, Arnold, Papa Squanch, Nick, Jaco, and Lark in your top 10. Then we got Konzo, Kalamanan, Samster, Kieran, Malvin, and then we have 2 disqualifications of Entity and Waitsy. Of course, a few people haven't had much practice with one-shot qualifying, so their lap times may be a bit slower than what you would expect, but now the drivers will be getting ready to start the sprint race and get in their strategies, and they've been given roughly about 2 minutes, which means we get a little bit of a chance to talk about the pre-race interviews and what other people were doing it. There was quite a few people that liked the sprint rounds, Nick being one of them. Lukey not so much. He's not really going to change the strategy that much. Konzo is ready for rain, so he's hoping for a mixed race. Well, we're going to get that for the sprint race. I'm just trying to see if there's any more P1 people that responded. Kalamanan feels very strong in the rain, so keep an eye on him according to the pre-race interviews. Casper's ready for the rain, and Casper's ready for a switch up in strategy as well. So those were a few people I picked out in the pre-race interviews. Now they're going to be starting on the intermediate tyres. Now there will be most people. Will they be thinking about changing setups, because we'll be having a lobby restart straight after this? I know in my race will help me with having a wet setup, but I know on this game you can't really practice with wet weather setups in time trial. So there's a lot of people that got to be very smart here today to have the right setup for these conditions.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who put the time into doing practice races throughout the week. Obviously, being able to practice with the wet weather conditions in the actual lobbies instead of obviously, as you mentioned, the inability of doing it in time trial. It's going to be interesting to see though who has put in the time to get their setups just spot on to have that balance.
Yes, and they'll probably be doing some setup tweaks right now as well. You can see quite a few of intermediate tyres in the garage currently as well. So, of course, everyone's going to be on the inters. We have been given a call by the tier coordinator to ready up, so we are about to get underway. We do have some rivalries, Tony and Cashman, so we'll go through that quickly in just a moment. They got a bit too close for comfort last week, and there were a few damages. And with a championship at stake, is this likely something we're going to see again, or can they keep it clean? And Tony said it's the first race we actually battle, so of course I'm a little worried going forward. Jay's a competent racer, and I pray he doesn't hold any grudges and races me how he would race anybody else. I'll be treating Jake with the same respect I do with everybody else, regardless of pace. If I feel he's not treating me with respect, then my elbows might just have to come out, otherwise it's water under the bridge. That's a little bit of a Dow reference. I like it. And in terms of the championship, I'm taking a hit as I'm unavailable due to work. Well, he's here tonight. I think he finished work early, so glad he's here at the moment. And Cashman just said he got a little bit too close in Singapore. There's no grudge or anything. Totally clearly a phenomenal driver, and I enjoy on occasion being able to battle him. I hope we can continue to battle fair and respectfully with each other, as it's difficult to find people with a good level of respect. Has to taken a hit with Tony not racing, but he is racing now. But it will still be our main effort to try and bring their lead down. Well, we got Tony in P1, Jake in P4. So the drivers there in the rivalries are quite close together.
Yeah, absolutely. In this checkerboard in the top 4, Haas McLaren. So
yes.
it's going to be interesting to see if we see any teamwork going on between the teammates early doors, just to see if Casper can get ahead of Axlock. Maybe give Tony a bit of a buffer so he can try and get away, because of course Axlock's second in the championship, the nearest rival to Tony in the standings. So I wonder if Casper's going to put in a teammate performance, and the same with Cashman and Axlock as well. Can Cashman get himself ahead of Casper and give Axlock the full ability to attack Tony here on the start?
Yes, indeed. I wouldn't have thought I would have seen Mike McLaren and Haas fighting for P1 and to P4. You don't get that in real life because these are equal cars. So we are waiting for all the drivers to make their way onto the grid. The top four are going very fast. They are going very slowly now to make sure they do not get cold tyres. As Arnold, by the way, put in a very good showing in qualifying in P6, despite him only joining the league at lunchtime. So nice to see him getting back into the swing of things. In One Hub Racing, Papa Squatch also had a good qualifying as well. Nick, I felt like could have done a little bit better, but again, there was a few people that did not have the time to practice as we got a few disqualifications, so we're going to get some cold tyres. Lovely stuff. What a way to start the P1 tier. But anyway, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Brazil for the sprint race, and it is time to rock and roll. And Tony gets a good start, but both of the McLarens are trying to close the hatches in. So is Lukey as well in towards the centre edge, and it is very treacherous in these wet conditions, so there will be quite a few slides through these next few corners, but everyone seems to make through turns 1 and 2 okay, which is great news, but we have a few people losing out on positions. Tony still holding the lead in towards turn 4 into Cena de Lago. Casper almost trying to get the move done, but we already see some slides there right now. But great stuff from our top 3. Jake down a position, and Lukey probably has the best out of the top 5 pretty much, because he's gained a position.
Yeah, absolutely. Lukey able to get the move done on Cashman through the centre S's, as I'm currently on board with Arnold, looking all over the back of that McLaren rear wing, and a little bit of a few back end snaps I've seen from Cashman so far, so maybe the setup not ideal for him right now early on.
No, it doesn't look like so at the moment, but anything can happen in Formula 1 as Conto has got his way past Callum, as there's quite a few battles happening towards Jung's chat. Whatever you like to call that corner, it is a hard corner to call it, but we got Arnold and Jaco fighting as well. We also got Callum and Conto fighting. There's a lot of battles, but where should you look? Well, we're on lap 2 now, and Tony setting the fastest lap, of course. We're in towards turn number 1 now. Arnold has a sneaky look. Once again, Papa Squatch doing exactly the same, but they can't afford to push too much because they do know the Inters are going to be so much hotter towards the end of this stint when it dries up. So we'll see if any one of the Alpines could go for a lunge. Nope, they cannot, as everyone pretty much is in that same DRS train. Waitsy's dropped off a little bit, but everybody else from like P14 upwards seems to be in that train.
Yeah, and very close calamity again, second week in a row for Cashman, as he does make a little bit of contact through Jun Chao versus Lukey, which is why the gap was extended to around about 9 tenths at the beginning of this lap, but both of them able to make through with without any major damage, but that just caused a big concertina effect down the start-finish straight, as you saw with Arnold, J. Cole and Papa Squancho getting close to overtakes in their own rights. But about to begin lap number 3 now, Jess. Tony doing very well at the moment, maintaining that gap at the front.
And so is Axelot as well. 6 tenths per second separating the two of them as well. And you can see Axelot trying to burn some of the DRS, and with a deployment that you could use as much as you like, they can still use quite a few in the wet. And I wonder if a few drivers have underfueled their cars a little bit, just so they can be very quick in these wet conditions. Because in the intermediate tyres, they do not use that much fuel at all, as Lukey just closing in on Casper ever so slightly. He's showing his consistent pace right now, but the ones below Lukey are pretty much breaking out of that DRS train, which is not ideal. We see people in the tier below gain a lot of time because they were in that DRS train. Arnold tried to sneak up the inside of Jake, but they made a little bit of contact through one of the S's section, but Arnold just about stays ahead. Some very respectful racing between the two of them, but they keep swobbling. Jayco is going to be ready to pounce once you know it. But luckily, Jake has got DRS again, so that's not going to help Arnold, but that's going to help Jake because Jake is going to try and close in on the guys in front.
Yeah, and you saw Arnold getting very close in this lap to really putting the pressure on Cashman. You got J. Cole in behind him. We know what a smart driver J. Cole is. He's going to wait for the opportunity to open up and go for a move. But Arnold closing up now to the back of Cashman. He's going to look down the inside. A battle that we do see quite regularly in real life. McLaren versus Red Bull here at Brazil.
Yeah, we do, and possibly those two fighting for the constructors as well. So this is pretty much a realistic interpretation. You're not expecting a Red Bull in one hub to climb their way up through the field like that in this division, but it shows how fast a driver Arnold really is on this game with a lot of these drivers. So keep an eye on him later on as well. Tony still leads for Matt Slot in second, Casper in third, and I wonder the two Hasses could be working together here because Axelot, bless him, is in a Haas sandwich and is going to do all he can to break free of that and get the lead of this race. Or is he going to be staying patient? We'll have to find out. Kieran up the inside of Entity, but Entity's going to fight back here around the outside through the twisty nature of the middle sector. Heading towards the final sector. Is anybody going to make this move stick? Entity's going to try at least and saying, nope, you're not going to have that position, Kieran. So Entity's up into 14th. Callum does the same. Callum lost a bit on that sausage curve, and I think sausage curves should never be in Formula 1 because they suck and they lose you loads of time, and in real life they could give you damage. Casper set the fastest lap of the race so far, so keep an eye on him. Here comes Casper on Axel. I think obviously we know DRS is not going to help it, but if I was him, use a bit of DRS. Casper is very quick around here. Turn 4 is a prime opportunity for him to make the move. Is he going to do it? No, he's not.
Yeah, Casper being smart right now, picking his opportunity when to go for the move, but he gets onto the outside curbing through to Cedar Delago, and that's just cost him a decent amount of time there. As you saw Axel able to pull away up the hill towards Ferrajula.
Yes, which is one of the hardest corners in Formula 1 around this circuit, I have to say, due to obviously the amount of throttle you have to balance and stuff like that, and it's very hard on traction. I would say it is another pad track. A lot of pad drivers do very well, but there's a lot of drivers here that are wheelbase, so it's hard to tell. There's a little bit of a slide for Casper as the tyres get hotter and hotter. I am keeping an eye on the weather if it's going to dry up a little bit, but in Brazil, even though it starts raining, it does take a while to dry up, and in this lobby it seems to me that it's still raining on lap 6 of 12. In our lobby just now, I think it stopped raining on lap 5 as Arnold and Jake side by side towards the centre. As Arnold had a bit of a slide there, but he kept that under control. Absolutely beautiful, but that allowed Jayco, a Papa Squanch, to be like, you know what, if you two make a mistake, I could try and capitalise on that. Jayco is going to go for the lunge towards turn 4, maybe? No, because Cashman and Arnold shut the door on the pair of them. But I don't know how Arnold saved that. That was absolutely amazing stuff from him.
Yeah, but the battle in between Arnold and Cashman, as you can see, has lost some 2.5 seconds to the top 4. And of course, with Casper putting the pressure on Axlock. Axlock 1.5 off the back of Tony now.
Yes, and that is going to be very interesting coming towards the end of this little bit. Is the train going to break free? You can't afford to get out of this DRS train because that's where you're going to lose all the time. So if I was Arnold and Jake, do not make any mistakes because that's where Jake and Papa could come back at you. The dirtier here is not too bad, but Papa Squanch has just had a bit of a slide and that's lost him quite a bit of time on the exit of the final corner. Tony saying fastest laps like no tomorrow. Same with the Haas driver. And we see if Casper can respond to the McLaren driver very soon. And I think Lukey is going to try and do exactly the same. It stopped raining, I believe, but you can see the track is so damp around here. It's hard to keep up at times. Can anyone go to the inside? No. So let's jump back to Arnold and Jake. No. Papa was thinking maybe I could go for it, but maybe not. So I think they're just playing it very tightly now as the track starts to dry up, and people are going to hope that it's enough for soft tyres, but maybe like we saw in P2, it may not be best to go in and pit unless the gap is quite a lot. But what we're seeing with these drivers is there's hardly any difference on pace. They're all pretty much the same.
Yeah, all pretty much the same, and obviously as the rain obviously has now stopped out on track, these intermediates are just gonna heat up now. There's no downfall on the track. The rain and the water is being cleared up as we speak, and it's all gonna be about timing on when to come into the pits. And if you're someone like Arnold right now, who's 2 seconds off the back, or Axlock, who's 2 seconds off the back of Tony, a well-timed pit stop could really put you right back in that fight.
It really can, and it does depend on your pace. And Kieran, he's going to go for the gamble. He's going to go onto a set of the soft tyres. Now, do people think it's a bit too early? I personally think so. But Kieran's like, you know what? Why not? I'm at the back anyway. You've got nothing to lose. I think the only people that should pit are the ones near the back anyway, because the only way is up for them. They're not going to lose that much. Kira's had a bit of a side in the pit lane, and it is still so damp in the pit lane. So your answer to, is it enough for slicks? Absolutely not. Just look at the damp bits in Sector 2. You can see the shiny bits as well. It's still slippery. Even Tony on the inters is struggling. So if I were you, do not go out on softs just yet. It's too early, and Kieran has just proven that.
Yeah, and we're gonna see through this middle sector just how early it is. As Kieran out there on track, 20.5 seconds off the back of Waitsy, and that time is increasing.
By
and that's only through 3 corners.
Yeah, he's lost a second through there, and even the ones on the intermediate tyres are gaining quite a bit. As we got a yellow flag, and that is Malvin, another person struggling on those soft tyres, which is another proof that these softs are not good at all. As we can see, Callum and Nick having a really good battle. Callum, very sportsmanlike in the stewards. Of course, he felt like he ruined Nick's race last time out, and he reported himself to the stewards. He does have a free-place grid penalty going into the main race due to that, but I just have to say fair play to him right now, as we've got another spinner out of the other one that's on the soft tyres. Yeah, it's just not it. But you never know. It may be damp in some places, but dry in others. But I wouldn't pit now. I wouldn't pit at all, because the ones on the softs that just pit, they're going to lose out on more time. And even if they pit again, they're not going to gain anyway. So if you have a decent gap in front, why not stay out?
So Malvin into the pit lane, retires from the session. I think he knew his race was over and done with after that spin, especially. And you're seeing even Waitsy out there losing time in that middle sector. And of course, Waitsy, no slouch either, and he's losing time as Kieran picks up a 3-second time penalty. There, J. Cole with the fastest lap, so proving that the Indus are still a better tyre to be on, with fastest lap still coming in from the Greenwall tyres.
Yep, I think the Inters, if I were you, just stay on them. We did see people pit onto the softs in P2, and it did not work for some of them. It worked for quite a few of them, but at the end of the day, it was the ones on the Inters that won the race, and it helped them a little bit. So we'll probably see the same here. And sorry about the flashing yellow flag. It's not my fault. It's just people retiring from the pit lane. But you can see the battle going strong between Cashman, Arnold, and J. Cole. It is going. They're going foot to the floor, pedal to the metal here at Brazil. You can still see the track is still shiny, and they want to give it everything. If you pit now, you're going to lose that much more time. So it's worth it by staying out, as Malvin has left the session. Luckily, no safety cars, because somehow the safety car doesn't like to be called out in the sprint. Tony still leads by 1.9 seconds, and he wasn't even meant to be here tonight, and he's still leading by quite some way. Looking to do the same as he's done in Baku by taking the double.
Yeah, absolutely, as Casper closing all the way up to the rear wing of Axlock there in towards turn number 1. And we are seeing Casper begin to put the pressure on Axlock now, as they've built a bit of a gap now to Lukey in 4, so that will allow Casper to really just focus on trying to get the overtake instead of looking in his rear view and seeing if Lukey's close enough to make a move.
Yep, Lukey, if I was him, I would be just a little bit patient because these two good squad boys. Casper made a little bit of mistake on the entry in towards turn 7, and that's allowed Axelot just to go just about a tenth or two on Casper. And that's not what Casper wants because Lukey's almost within DRS whenever that opens, but I doubt that's going to open on lap 12 because the track is just still so slippy. I think, to be honest, Mike, the track is not good for any tyre, so they just got to have to live with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's yellow flags, and I think that is Kieran there having a little bit of a moment.
He's about to get lapped.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of what you were saying about the tyres, absolutely. I think right now the Inters are overheating, especially with some of the drivers locking up into the corners, adding unnecessary heat into those tyres. And then, of course, we're seeing the soft tyres. They're just not performing well. There's still a little bit of a glazing on the track, which is, of course, affecting their ability to really get a grip hold. But I think right now, Conzo might actually be getting the better of the tyres, but it's too little too late.
Yeah, I think it could be too little too late for the ones who just pedal sauce, but you never know, he could be going for the fastest lap. Let's go on board with Conzo as he makes his way towards turn number 1. Is turn 3 taken at the right time? It's still a bit slippery, but if it went on for a few more laps, maybe people would have gone on to the soft side. Meanwhile, Callum and Larkin going side by side. Some great wheel-to-wheel battles happening at the moment. We got Callum keeping to the left-hand side of Larkin, and he's done an incredible job. But we're about to go to the lead of this one as Catchman and Ardov made a mistake, and that's allowed Jaco to get the pair of them. Sorry I caught the end of that, but Tony wins in the sprint race. He'll be starting 10th in the feature race. Atsock 2nd, Casper 3rd, Lukey 4th, Jaco 5th, Jake 6th. What could have been for him and Arnold. Papa Squanch 8th, Callum and Arm 9th, but he will have his grid penalty, so he will drop his way down the order. And Larkin will be starting in 10th place. Well, finished in 10th place. He'll be starting on pole. So there we go. So that is your order. Inters were the way to go.
Yeah, it was just too little too late when the dry compound tyres become the better tyres. You can see Conzo has brought that gap down by around a second and a half on this lap, but it just was not the right call to go into a set of dries in the end.
No, it definitely wasn't. But if it was a 100% race, then maybe. But it just shows that the ones that did practice, it definitely helped them right now. But again, we'll have to wait and see how that affects the main race, where it's going to be completely dry. So J. Cole got the driver of the day for the sprint. But obviously, we won't choose our driver of the day until the end of the main race. But we'll go through your order for the sprint from the sprint race. So we've got Tony, Atslot, Casper, Lukey, J. Cole, Jake, Arnold, Papa Squanch, Callum Arndt, and Larkin. Then we have Nick, Entity, Samster, Conzo, Waity, Kieran, and Malvin. 17 drivers today, and that was your order for today's sprint race. And of course, our only retirement was Malvin. Great result from Tony and Atslot, but J. Cole, just again, picking up the pieces when anybody else made a mistake.
Yeah, and that's what J. Cole does best. I mean, we've seen him do it many seasons here in One Hub. He just has a knack of being in the right place at the right time, being able to take advantage of the mistakes around them.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are trying to make and capitalise on people's mistakes, but we could have some safety cars, and that could not help them a little bit as well. So the drivers, they got one shot main qualifying, but they've been asked to retire from that so we can get the main lobby underway, and that will be a lobby restart. And of course, the main race, a 2-stop race. Soft, medium can work, but we could see, I think, quite a few more people go on to the hard compounded tyres. Interesting fact about the Interlagos circuit, it used to be longer than the 4.29 kilometres that you know of today. It was much longer than that, and the motor race began in Brazil back in 1934, Rio de Janeiro. The original circuit around here 7.960 kilometers. May 1940 it was produced, and it had 26 turns. And in 1985, the circuit was renamed to honor Jose Carlos Pache, a Brazilian Formula 1 driver who died around this track. And then it got shortened. I think it was around about in the 1990s when it was shortened to from 5 miles to 4 kilometers. So there we go. So that was some interesting facts about the track. But going into the main race, safety cars now coming into play, dry weather. What tyre would you start on, Mike?
Well, what I've seen in terms of the tyres, and I see, a little bit of insight and everything. Apparently, the soft tyres do tend to overheat quite a bit around here.
Yes.
So, I would be, if you are going to do a soft, medium, I'd rather get the softs out the way immediately, just to get that tyre gone. But I think we'll see predominantly most of the grid starting on a set of mediums.
Yeah, I think that's what we will see. I think we'll see a few people starting on softs because it depends on how likely with this tier it's going to be a safety car. But for some people, they want to do 2 mediums or even 2 hards, and they want to start on the mediums to get the mediums out of the way. For them, it's personal preference on which tyre is the best tyre for them to deal with around the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache circuit in Brazil. Now, we have seen people do well around this track before. Of course, the past race winners from the P1 tier, he doesn't race anymore, but Timo pulled off a really good force around Brazil to win this one quite dominantly. So, of course, we'll have to see how that plays out throughout this one as well. And of course, we don't have to worry about the ints and the wets anymore. And we have seen around here, if you're not within a second of each other, that is where you lose the time. And I think that's where we're going to see the front lot really start to climb their way through the field. But with the likes of Tony, he's going to be starting in 10th or 9th place depending on engine penalties. How is he going to fare starting from 10th? But to be fair, he started lower than that in Baku and he still went on to win the race. So I think he's going to have a chance of winning the race today, isn't he?
You can never write Tony off from taking a race win. Remember, he was looking so good at Singapore until that incident with Cashman and that, which unfortunately dropped him down the field a bit. But I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of wanted to see the battle between Matteo and Tony, but
Matteo's not here again.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like that we could have Matteo pretty much dropping out of the league if he misses out on it. 'Cause I think it's the 3rd or 4th round that he's missed, and it is a bit of a shame, of course, that he's missing, because it would have been a very good fight between the pair of them. But unfortunately, we're not going to get that, which is a bit of a shame. But let us know your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to win this race coming up as well. So I think what's happening right now is the PC players have been given a invite. So if you are watching and if you are racing on PC, invites are now open. Get your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to win. And it gives us a good time to go through our lovely sponsors, because we've got 5 of them to go through. First of all, we've got Next Level Racing. They're providing prizes worth over £2,000. And these are the 4 types of prizes that you could potentially win. And there's also Pure Sim Gear as well. The driver with the most fastest laps and poles combined will win a pair of Pure Sim Gear gloves or socks, which look lovely, by the way. I'm tempted to get one of those myself. Our partners, Vespertina, support our championship apparel and are providing 2 prizes. First of all, the winner of the Going Gets Tough Award wins the Race the Dream t-shirt, and the winner of Cam's One Hub Racing Driver Rankings wins a One Hub Racing t-shirt, and both of them look very nice. And also to our partners at SimGrid, who provide our lovely standings and our lovely community where they can sign up. And also Mental Health Foundation, our charity that we're supporting this season and for many seasons to come. If you are struggling right now, especially during these tough times, it's good to talk to someone you know if you're struggling. And also the Mental Health Foundation can come in and support you. So without those sponsors, none of these prizes could happen. And we'll let you know who's going to win what prizes towards the end of the season. And now that's very, very exciting that plenty of those drivers could win as well. But still, plenty of the top 3 could win some prizes. Well, you got to be outside of the top 3 to win the Go and Get Stuff award, of course. But Tony's just got such a huge gap in the championship. We got people like Axelot and Lukey. They're just picking up the pieces. And I think in order to win this championship, you got to be consistent and make less mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta be consistent. You gotta be putting in the consistent performances, and that's what we've been seeing so far from Tony so far this season. Of course, 2 back-to-back 6th place finishes. Then, of course, obviously, your race win followed by a 5th place finish. Then, of course, Baku the sprint race and obviously feature race win, and then, of course, 4th place last time out. So he's been very consistently in the points, and he's one of the few drivers that has been very consistent in the points. Axelot being another one that's been consistent in the points as well, but it's kind of been a little bit up and down with Axelot in terms of his performances. Of course, round 2 picking up 8th place, and of course last time out with a 7th place finish, and that contrary to to the lowest place finish that Tony's had is 6th. You definitely need to be consistent, and right now I think no one's been more consistent than Tony.
Yeah, and even when he has mistakes around Singapore or Baku, he's just like, you know what? I'm quick around this circuit. I'm going to gain position. And remember around Baku when he stayed on those medium tyres for longer than expected. He knows how to produce a good setup. He knows how to get the tyres operating at the right window. And Brazil is a great track to do that. You know, Brazil, especially around the technical sector 2, from around turn 6 to turn 11, that is when the drivers are really going to start to struggle, is through that. So they've got to think, how can I cool those tyres down? And some people may want to cool them on the straight, but that's why they want to gain the most time as well. We have got, I think, all the drivers in the lobby, I believe. So Lukey will be getting the grid set up very soon. But we will see what we could do here. But I think the drivers are relieved that it's not going to rain here. But when are we going to get a wet to dry race? Because we haven't got many wet to dry races we had already. We only had it in the sprints. Surely next week we're going to get a wet race around Spain, which is not going to help me at all. But since we haven't had any wet races yet in One Hub Racing, surely next week is the time to have it. But at least around Brazil, the weather gods have been nice. They're keeping it dry.
Yeah, weather gods being nice this week. Will it be mean next week around Spain? And will it be Spain without the S for the drivers? That's going to be the question if the rain does fall. Portugal, it would be a very interesting one if it's a wet to dry race for round number 8. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on, just in case it is wet.
Oh, interesting. Portugal, I wouldn't mind it to be a wet race because I'm usually good around a wet Portugal. But if it's a dry Portugal, I get very, very annoyed. But, you know, things could happen there. Let us know in the chat, guys, what races you want to see wet races. You know what race I would like to see it being wet? I'm gutted. I might be missing it, but it's one of my favourite tracks on the calendar, Silverstone. It just always seems to rain at Silverstone, and a lot of people like racing Silverstone on this game, and it's just built for the wet conditions. I think every time I've raced around Silverstone in One Hub, it seems to have rained at some point. But let us know in the chat on where you would think right now. Where you would think as well. Sorry for waffling on as much. We're just waiting for the lobby to start. But I'm going to ask you a question, Mike. Who would you see as the biggest surprise for the main race? Who would you want to see do well in this race that you may not expect to do well?
Oh, now you put me on the spot.
Sorry.
Do you know what? I would like to see Waitsy do well. In the Aston Martin, I'd like to see Waitsy do well. Of course, he is starting down towards the back. He was one of the drivers that made the switch onto the soft compound, so he, isn't going to be starting from a luxurious position. But I mean, so far this season, a couple of points paying finishes, and obviously his highest finishing result this season, 7th place in the feature race in Baku. I'd like to see him do well. I really would.
Waitsy is a good shout. Now, you're probably going to ask me the same question. I would like to see Larkin get a good result. 'Cause he's another driver that's always been here and there in the races. But again, sometimes he can pick up the pieces. And we've seen in P2, a lot of drivers getting penalties. But it's a glitch because in Brazil, there's a lot of places you can get track limits, which is a bit unfair. But Larkin always likes to keep it clean and get no penalties. So I expect Larkin to potentially be the biggest good surprise. And if nobody of those two be the biggest good surprise, Larkin and Waitsy can blame me and Mike at the end of the stream. So there we go. So as I think there was a few people that were running default setups in the main sprint race, which wasn't ideal. But we, myself and Mike, could see the clock counting down, which you know what that means. It's time to go racing very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone getting themselves psyched up for the start of the race. They're going to be making sure that their setups and strategies are absolutely on point. Remember, mandatory 2-stop here in One Hub Racing. Strategy is going to be interesting to see how many will start on the set of the softs to get them out of the way nice and early, or to see if they're going to be starting on the mediums to keep their options open.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. If I were you, don't go on the hard compounded tyres. Just don't. If anyone goes on the hard compounded tyres, then fair play. I know a few drivers will potentially want to go on them, and they're usually quite good, but they really start to not warm up very much. So if I were you, try and go on the tyres that will give you the most heat into them at the start of the race. But luckily, people are choosing their tyre allocation very quickly, and hopefully no one already up to much. Now, I'm going to go to the game screen nice and early. You want to know why? So I can see potential tyre choices, because it seems to be like the Mercedes turn this week to give us an inkling on what tyres they're going to be on. I don't usually show them this screen, but Nick showed my tyre choices last week, so karma. So he's literally gonna change his mind right at the end. So we don't have an idea on what tyres he's gonna be on as well. So very 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 cheeky. I'm sorry, Nick. I love you really. But I'm just trying to see if I can see tyres from anybody else that doesn't look like it. I wonder if we're gonna see any Burt Myland. I think we saw 2 safety cars in P2. How many safety cars might we gonna get in P1, don't you think?
I think we should be seeing. I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna include virtual safety cars in this. I'm gonna go 1 full course safety car, 2 virtuals.
Oh, that is interesting. I'm gonna go for 1 DSC, 2 safety cars. That is my prediction. But I would like you to let us know in the chat on who you think. Try and get more involved as well. Of course, we will have the formation lab very, very soon. If you haven't already, make sure you leave us a like on this video if you're watching it back on YouTube. Also follow us on Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch now, follow us on Twitch anyway. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that bell if you are new to us, and don't forget we stream live every Sunday at 5 p.m. for P2 and 7 p.m. for P1. We didn't get a stream for P2 today because due to last minute unforeseen issues, but hopefully we'll have a stream from them next week so you could see those drivers race every week. As Formation Lap is on and up and running, so let's get the tyres on our screen. And we thought a majority of people were going to start on the mediums. Everybody is starting on the softs except Arnold, Tony, and Konzo. I'm very surprised. I thought it would have been half and half. So the ones who are going to be starting on softs, I can understand, are the ones in the top 2. So let's go through your order then, because that will take into account grid penalties. So Larky will be starting in pole position, Papa Squelch in P2, Arnold 3rd, Kajman 4th, J. Cole 5th, Lukey 6th, Tony 7th, Nick 8th, Entity 9th, Samster 10th, Konzo 11th, Waitsy 12th, Catboy Key in 30th, Malvin 40th, Casper 50th, Atslok 60th, and Callum Unarmed 17th. And just a reminder on who has taken their engine penalty this week is Casper, Callum Unarmed, and Atslok. So that's why they are at the back. So we will see what was going to go on there. So let us know who you think is going to win this race. And we just got drivers heating up their tyres just a little bit more so that they get it into the good operating window. So Callum is waving quite frantically at the moment, and Larkin has already made his way into his grid slot. And I think his tyres are going to be extremely cold. As you can see, everybody else making their way onto their grid slot. So maybe he went just a little bit too soon. Knowing Lukey, he could get the host advantage, but he's starting in 6th place. So we are about to get underway for 36 laps of racing. We had 12 laps in the sprint, 36 laps in the main race. Malvin has been disqualified. But here we go then. The 5 red lights coming up. 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it is time to rock and roll here in Brazil. And it is 3 wide into turn 1 already. Larkin gets a really good, tidy start already in towards turn number 1, as he's already leading by quite some way. Jake and Arnold going side by side once again through turn 3 in towards the Cedar Lager now. Lukey trying to take advantage, but it's not going to. Jake shuts the door into 3rd place. Jake are into 6th, Entity's up into 7th. Tony already is up into 8th spot. There's a few people dropping way down the field, and someone's almost had enough. That was one of the RBs, I think, but Larkin, probably the best start I have seen in a long time from him, as everyone else around him is pretty much been in lots of battles. As Jake, great, brilliant move, past Papa Squatch up into 2nd.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the battle in behind that battle, just as J. Cole tried to have a look all the way around the outside at turn 8 on Lukey, but big rear lockup, as I think Entity just managed to avoid going into the back of J. Cole. They're side by side coming up the hill into the start finish straight.
Yep, side by side. DRS will be enabled very, very soon. J. Cole going to try and take the upper hand here. Entity trying to go for a lunge as well. Tony to the outside as well through the centre S's. And he gets the job done beautifully. Already up into 7th place. So those means for him working out very nicely, and those tyre temperatures are going to be very nice and toasty for some of the soft runners, but they will get even hotter as they head through the stint, I think in about 3 or 4 laps time. Arnold trying to get past Papa Squanch, and Papa Squanch is leaving no room for error. Papa Squanch is defending like a lion as he tries to leave as much space as possible. Lukey tries to go for the move too. None of them could do it. Papa Squanch, I have to say, as Jaco has had a bit of an off, and he's been passed by quite a few cars. Lukey, I think, has lost a bit of ground too. He was almost in that train, and Tony's like, thank you very much. That's my position now.
Yeah, it seemed like a back-end snap from Lukey, getting caught on the front left tyre of J. Cole, and both of them just getting dragged off to the right onto the grass. So both of them dropping down a lot of positions, as I just had a visual glitch with the timetables, as J. Cole has dropped all the way to 17th, and for me, in fact, has he actually already dropped the 17th?
He is dropped to 17th, so he's had a bit of an off.
Wow.
Well, we jinxed him. We jinxed Jaco. Here's a battle for the lead. Jake to the inside, in towards turn number 4. To see the Largo, Jaco's picked up a penalty. And Cajman into the race lead so far. And that is very good, because he's got a few cars buffer in between himself and Arnold and Tony. And that is exactly what he wants. Look at Papa Squanch. He's my driver of the day so far. Even though he's not the fastest driver, he wants to make sure any of these drivers do not get past him. Through this next tricky chicane, Papa's round the outside. Is he going to hold his line and try and get a position back from Arnold? Well, Arnold's going to take that position. So fair play for Papa Squanch holding it while it lasted. But Arnold was the quicker driver at the end of the day, and he's now up into 3rd place. But here comes Tony, the prancing Tony, who's your championship leader. He wants to gain as many points as he can in this race after starting quite low down, due to him finishing the race in a P1 in the sprint in towards turn number 1. Round the outside he goes. Nice and tidy from the Haas man. It's some great racing so far, and we're seeing the medium runners really coming through, apart from Konzo, of course. But Jake, all he's got to do is hold these guys up, stretch that gap a little bit to make sure the medium runners don't have a sniff of him as NC gets past Papa Squatch now.
Yeah, and Tony will be breathing a sigh of relief because he would have been looking at Papa Squanch as defending and thinking, oh, this guy by here, he is going to cause me a few problems. But Tony able to make quick work of Papa Squanch, and Papa Squanch gets overtaken by Entity and now Lukey. So Papa Squanch now starting to fall down the order as Nick has just been overtaken by Samster.
Nick to the right-hand side in toward the start of Sector 3. They both make a bit of contact. They've both fought quite a lot in many 100 Racing Championships gone by. They've been legends as Nick has had it off. That I had a similar off quite a few times in a safety car restart in P2. It's just so easy to do. So I'm not surprised that quite a few of our drivers have done that. And we got, I think, a lot of battles happening in the midfield, but we also got a battle happening for P2. Oh, now to the inside of Larkin. That's Nick's in the wall. What's happened there?
I just saw up ahead a car go spearing off into the wall, and that was Nick down the start-finish straight. I'm not sure if there was contact between him and Samster, but Nick into the wall, front wing damage on our Mercedes, and it's going to be a very long race now for Nick, that is for sure.
Well, Nick has had some, I swear to God, Nick has been having some really bad luck in the last couple of races. And he just had so much pace, but he unfortunately spins himself or gets involved in incidents, which is a bit of a shame. But most of the time, it's not his own fault anyway. But his teammate Marvin trying to get past Catboy Key, and then he's got unarmed as well for company, so he's in an RB sandwich heading towards the final sector. Not much room being made between the RBs and the Mercedes. Here comes Malvin. I know it's only his second race in 100 Racing, but he wants to definitely put on a good show as DRS gets enabled. We got our first pitter. Jake wants to get one of his first stops out of the way first, so I wonder if he's going to use some hards at some point. Waity does the same, so they're going to drop way down the order as it stands. So Jake goes on to a set of the mediums, and Waity is going to go on to a set of the mediums, I think. But it's going to take a while. Nope, he's going to go on to a set of the hard tyres. Never mind. Papa Squanch is being attacked by Casper. As Casper tries to get past Callum. Callum's had a bit of a slide through turn 4. That's not helped any of these drivers in any way, shape or form. Casper through on them up to 7th.
Yeah, as Catboy K was trying around the outside of Malvin there. He gets overtaken by Samsa, who stuck to the inside, but Catboy K back to the inside on Samsa. And the RB and the Ferrari doing battle here in the middle sector.
This is great stuff. I think this is one of those tracks where you can go side by side for a longer period of time and really make this work. And it's really, really great to see. And we can see Kieran. He's cut a bit of the sausage curb. And you do not want to do that, because the sausage curb, if you cut a little bit of it, you send into a spin like that. So Catboy Key is now at the back of the grid as we got Callum unarmed in the pit lane at Sock as well. Oh, we got a virtual safety car. That is good timing for the drivers that just pitted. So the likes of Callum, Atzelot and Kieran. Oh, Luke. Wow. So what has happened near the front? There's been a few 10-second penalties for Entity and Lukey. So they must have made... I think, can you do some radio commentary whilst I try and get back into the lobby?
Oh, you've gone from the lobby?
Yeah, I disconnected. So the stream has had a little bit of an off. So apologies about that. We will try and get us back very soon. But my PlayStation deciding to have an absolute nightmare. But yeah, as soon as I can get in, I'll let you know. But over to Mike for some radio comms whilst I try and get back in.
Yep, so Lukey into the pits, a fresh set of mediums for him after serving that 10-second time penalty. Jay Cole into the pits as well as Tony also came into the pits, putting on a set of the hard compound tyres. So in terms of those that have made a pit stop so far, you got Cashman, Callum and Armed, Axlock, Waitsy, J. Cole, Catboykey, Tony, and of course Lukey, all making their pit stops at this stage in the race. Lap 8 of 36. Arnold still leads the way. Entity in second place with that 10-second time penalty. Lumen. And I did just have a quick look at the race director then, Jess, to see where his 10-second time penalty was for. And apparently Entity made a bit of contact with Lukey, so that is why he got the 10-second time penalty. Larkin into the pits, picks up a 10-second time penalty for speeding into the pits, and he retires immediately upon pit entry. So Larkin coming into the pits, retiring from the session. Maybe there's some irreparable damage on his car, which is why he came in to retire. But yeah, not great for Larkin there. Papasquan's still doing good so far. He's currently P3 with Konzo and Samster, the Ferrari pairing in P4, P5. Cashman, the first of the pit stoppers. He is currently in P6 with Axlock in behind in P7. He's under pressure though from Callum and Armed as those two are doing battle for P7 and P8. Of course, Axlock on the set of the mediums, Callum and Armed on the set of the hard compound tyres. In terms of those that are on the hards right now, you got Callum and Armed, Waitsy, Casper, and of course Tony. So both of the Hasses going for a set of the hard compound tyres for the second stint here, Jess.
I'm back. I'm back in the lobby. Apologise about that. I swear to God, it always happens. Every time I say a driver's going to be good, they DNF. So Larkin, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But we are seeing more drivers come in now, as you would expect. And the undercut has worked for some drivers and not for others. So we will go for your running order right now, as it has benefited Jake quite a lot. But Papa and Samster are in. They're going on to serve the mediums. I thought more people would have gone on the halves, but they're probably thinking there's going to be a safety car later on in the race and they could go on to a set of the halves. So if there's a safety car to come out now, they could go to the halves until the end of this Grand Prix. But we only got 3 drivers that have not pitted yet. I think Arnold and Konzo, they want to stretch these. But NC, I'm still not quite sure about. Why would he want to stay on those softs? Surely they'll be dying right now. And Konzo, you can see, he's catching up quite quickly.
Maybe he is thinking exactly the strategy which we mentioned earlier. And there it is, a full course safety car deployed here.
That's worked well.
Lap 10.
That's worked well for Arnold and Entity and Konzo. Oh my God, look at the gap as well. Arnold? Why is Arnold staying out? Hopefully he remembers about the 2-stop. Oh, I disconnected again.
Okay, I can get you another invite.
Why did it always happen to me?
Why always me?
Why always me? Yeah, it seems to me. The thing is, I've not disconnected from OBS this time round, whereas I used to this one. Anyway, carry on whilst I try and get back in.
Yeah, so the top 3, as you would expect, all into the pits. Arnold on a fresh set of the hard compound tyres. Konzo and Entity going for a set of the mediums. And this was one thing I was going to say, Jess, before the safety car got deployed. Maybe Entity sticking out on the hards was more to do with the fact that he wanted to do a soft, medium strategy. Which, of course, with the safety car, should be out, I think, for a minimum 2 laps, I'd say. And the safety car could maybe help the likes of Entity and those that have gone from a set of softs to a set of mediums. Maybe it might just allow them to do the medium strategy. Of course, in terms of the tyre life, they are going to have to take those tyres at least to around... They're going to have to take them to like lap 23, 24, and then another set of mediums to the end, which is doable for those on the set of the mediums right now.
Yeah, I think so as well, potentially. I think that's what they're going to be doing. Or maybe some people just want to get it out of the way. But we've seen how close it was in P2, where there was a safety car right at the end and they all got on the softs. I like F124, where it gets quite a good mixture of strategies to contend with as well, which means we don't know who's going to win this race. And we don't know who's going to get the full 20 points. But we'll have to wait and see.
Well, Jess, one thing I can say is that there have been several runners that have made their second stop under the safety car.
Very smart.
All the way down to Malvin have all made 2 stops in this race. Axlock on the set of the hard compound tyres. J. Cole also on the set of the hard compound tyres. Set of mediums for Casper, mediums for Catboykey, Hards for Lukey, hards for Tony, and mediums for Samster, and of course a set of hards for Malvin. And for those on a set of hards, they should be able to get to the end of the race from here.
Yeah, I think they should get to the end quite comfortably. I will check the pit window. I am keeping my eye on my internet quite badly because I'm a bit worried. But you know, hopefully we should be fine. I had the strategy on me, but Discord's deciding to not work wonders for me at the moment. So we'll get those tyres warmed up. So we'll keep an eye on the ones who have made their second pit stops. They wouldn't want a safety car to come out right as the top 7 and made their second pit stops. They don't want that. But I think the ones who've had trouble towards the start of the race, they're probably getting back into this with being on 2 stops. I think there's some people on 2 stops that won't get to the end, like Casper and Kieran, but you never know with those medium tyres. I think safety car Mike should be in this lap. Oh, Malvin's now got a 10-second penalty.
Yeah, and one thing also with those medium tyres, and this is something that it's just popped into my mind as a potential strategy that they might be trying to deploy. Of course, by the time they do make their pit stop to come off the mediums, if they go into a set of the softs are going to be so much faster than the hards that would be very worn at that point. So there is potential for them to come back late in this race if they're able to deploy the soft medium correctly.
Safety car's in, so here we go then. Jake is going to be the one controlling the field. He's been on those tyres for 6 laps, whereas everyone else is on fresh tyres. Callum and Waitsy is being back in this race as well. But here we go then. For the second time tonight, we are about to go racing very soon. But Jake is going to leave it very, very late to make sure no one else gets a toe. And is that going to work in his favour? Yes, it is, because the gap is increasing between the top 2 and they're pulling away from the rest of the field. We can see Samster and Lukey in the background going head to tail in towards turn number 2 and 3. So they're going full throttle through this section. And Lukey, is he going to have the upper hand? We've got Tony as well in the background. It's annoying that the helicopter shot is showing blurred cars, unfortunately. But that is what you get sometimes with these camera angles. But on that 13 and 36, Jake holds on to the lead only just. We're seeing a bit of lock-ups in towards... Oh, someone spun!
Oh, that's Casper.
That's Casper, and I think his teammate is going to overtake him.
Yeah, so ghosting through each other there, the Hasses. And unfortunate day for Casper. Of course, on the set of the mediums, you would have hoped that he could have tried his best to carve his way for the field. But right now, he's battling with Malvin for the final position on the grid as it currently stands. But Tony putting a bit of pressure on Lukey, and Lukey's dropping a little bit back off of Samster here.
Yep, he is dropping a bit back from Samster, but DRS is activated, so we can see some moves being made, including one on Atslot and Jaco. This could be for the podium position, because these two have made their second stops already, just about squeezing in. Oh, you gotta be kidding, I disconnected again. What is going on with my internet today?
I can tell you right now, J. Cole went too deep on the exit of turn number 2 in the center S's, and that, of course, compromises line through turn 3, which allowed both Axel to get back through as well as Catboy Key. So J. Cole falling down the order, and I will quickly try and get the invite back out to you now, Jess. And,
I'm sorry, guys. It's weird things are happening with my internet. It was fine with when I was on PC when I was racing, so that is very strange. But anyway.
Absolutely, and of course, as it currently stands, Cashman has managed to pull car deployed in the race, and we are having a few technical issues right now, but hopefully we'll be able to get everything sorted ASAP for everyone that is tuning in and watching right now. is Arnold leading the way, 5 lap on a set of hard compound tyres. Entity in second place, 5 lap mediums. In terms of those that have made their second stops of the race, the only ones yet to make their second stop is, of course, Entity, who I believe is currently he's still out there on track. There was a bit of a visual glitch on my end. 10 second time penalty awarded in for ignoring yellow flags. But Arnold and Entity, the only 2 drivers to have not made their second stop in this race. Lap 16 of 36. Everyone else has made the mandatory 2 stops. And Cashman, Waitsy and Papa Squadron all going onto a fresh set of medium compound tyres. Conto on a fresh set of hards, and Malvin on a fresh set of medium compound tyres. Everyone else on 5 lap old compounds of tyres. And of course, Arnold and Entity, the only drivers yet to make their second stop in this race.
Right, so is there a safety car at the moment? Because I don't see the safety car being shown on my screen, which is very weird. So you're gonna probably you're probably gonna have to tell me when a safety car comes out, because I won't be able to see it as Entity comes in.
Yep, Entity is into the pits. When the only driver yet to make his mandatory 2 stop is, of course, Arnold, who was in the race lead. And this is an interesting decision from Arnold here, because he could have, if he had another set of hard compounds available to him, he could have put on another set of hards and got to the end, and would have been a bit quicker than the field towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I'm still a bit perplexed as to why he hasn't had maybe got a second set of hards, but everyone else does. And I think we're seeing a surprise with Kieran in the top 3. That's something I would not expect, but it just goes to show sometimes the strategy with these drivers as well, which could make things very, very intriguing. So I think safety car light is still out. We're just waiting for Entity to close in on the runners. Is this our second safety car?
Yep, second safety car, 1 virtual safety car. So right now we are bang on with your prediction for the VSCs and SCs deployed.
It's probably not going to happen. I think we're going to get at least one more. I think we're going to get at least one more safety car. But we'll see what happens. We'll keep an eye on the light. If the lights go out, that will mean the safety car is in. No. Still. And we can see Arnold trying to warm his tyres a little bit. Safety car's in this lap. And the safety car board is showing it now. It took its time, didn't it?
It absolutely did, yes. And the safety car comes in now, end of lap 17. We are just about to come on to the halfway distance in this Grand Prix. It is Arnold that leads the way. Axlock currently in second place. Tony, the championship leader, down in 6th place. And this is big for Axlock. Of course, he's made his second stop. He can go to the end. And he has a fair amount of cars in between himself and the championship leader, Tony.
Yes, who is going to be the one that picked up the pace? If I was Arnold, I would go now. And I think that's caught everyone else off guard. Yes, it has caught everyone else off guard as we're about to go racing once again here at Brazil. Arnold leads from Axelot and Kieran in second. We can see Casper and Malvin trying to make up some positions in the background. But what could Kieran do as he try and close it up on Axelot, who's probably in the best position right now? No moves being made between the front lot, but Jake trying to get past on Lukey. Oh, a bit of banging wheels once more in towards 4. In towards 5 they go, and Jake has got the move.
Yep, Jake there really committed to the inside line on Lukey, getting the job done there for the McLaren. Remember, he's on fresh medium compound tyres, so they will be the quicker of the tyres out on track of the cars ahead of him right now. And we know Cashman's pace, it is quite electric around here from what we've seen in the qualifying and of course what we saw in the sprint race, as Axox and Catboy Kai side by side coming through John Chow, and it's going to be Catboy Key around the outside. Fantastic manoeuvre there from the RB driver.
Yeah, Catboy Key past Axelot up into second place, but Axelot is not going to give up without a fight as DRS is enabled. Look at J. Cole up the inside. Oh, and they made contact with Kieran, and Kieran's lost the position. Oh.
Yeah. Axlock there just a little bit too hot on the brakes. Just had his nose up on the inside, and unfortunately, contact made there with Kieran, and Kieran unfortunately falls down the order. I think J. Cole also hit the back of Kieran, so potential for some front wing damage on that Alpine.
Is that Axelot, Samster as well, side by side? Ooh, Axelot just about holds it there.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly have a little look to see if I can see any damage on J. Cole's car, because I did see him hit, of course, Kieran, as Kieran was around. As the game is giving me a terrible camera angle right now. It's giving me a lovely shot of the halo, but not a good shot of the front wing. And it looks like the front wing is okay and intact.
Okay, so that should be absolutely fine on that one. But panic over. As we can see, Samson up with the DRS, it looks like, in towards turn one. Axel trying to do exactly the same, but on Jaco. And here we go. We can see one on the Hassid of Tony trying to get past Samson like no tomorrow. And he does that to perfection. And Jaco is pretty much planting his car in all the right places to make sure Axelot doesn't get a sniff. And Arnold is pulling away the gap, even though he has to stop one more time. Axelot to the inside of Jaco into second place. Tony is going to try and do the exact same thing through turn 5. He's probably going to be the bravest hash driver I have ever known. As we can see, I think Samster and Jake trying to make through on positions. Jake's going to try to do a double overtake, and there was a little bit of a swerve for both of them. Round the outside they go. Still going side by side in towards turn 8 and 9. Jake's going to be very brave on the brakes. He's going to keep his line for the end of set to 2. And he keeps that line. That was just so close. And Arnold's just like, thank you very much. You keep fighting. That'll help me a lot.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie, with Gashman, they obviously we don't get the move down on the Samster. That was an important overtake to make for him. Because Catboy Key, Ferrajula, was having a look around the outside of Gashman. So that's how close it was. Now, as you see, J. Cole get through on Axel, Tony trying to hang it around the outside through the center S's, and unable to get that job done. Cashman now on the back. 5-lap fresher tyres, and he's on the softer of the compound. Advantage Cashman in this battle right now.
Oh, we got the Haas who's trying to get past Axelot in towards.
Contact! Tony's out.
Safety car. Oh my goodness, that is going to be investigated by the stewards. But
the championship rivals, first and second in the championship, coming together here in Brazil.
Whoa, that's going to help Arnold.
Wow.
That means Arnold could go on to the mediums until the end, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone's got a fresh set of mediums, I'd be in the pits right now putting them on.
Yeah, I would. I would if you've got a fresh set, but if you don't, you're pretty much screwed. Arnold and Jake have been on those tyres for 10 laps. They've probably been praying for a safety car. And Arnold's going to come into the pits. There we go. Jake, of course, is staying out because he's done his 2 stops. So is Jake.
Samster stays out. That's a strange call from the Ferrari.
Has he done these? Yeah, he's done his 2 stops, hasn't he? Yeah, he's done his 2 stops. Whereas everyone else has come in. There is a lot of incidents that happened today. I think 3 that we missed. 1 that we just caught on camera.
Well, obviously with Nixon Sunday, obviously I didn't quite see what happened to him, but I know it was down the start finish straight.
I think it was with Samster, but I'm not entirely sure.
Obviously with Callum unarmed, it was at the top of Ferrajula, and he was in the wall on the left-hand side, so I'm not sure if he took a little bit too much of that inside curb through Ferrajula and just got chewed up and spat back out onto the outside, or whether he just had a big snap on the exit. Time will tell on that one. And of course, Tony and Hacksock, the championship rivals, coming together. And with Tony now out of this race, big opportunity for not only Axlock to gain some points here in the championship, but also for Lukey right now, who's currently in 8th place. Also for Casper, he's down in 11th. J. Cole, who is currently in 5th in the Drivers' Championship, he's up there in P2 right now in this race.
Yeah. He's the one who always likes to pick up the pieces, like I was saying earlier on. Bring it on, I would say. Bring it on from J. Cole. But he's got penalties. Whereas the likes of Jake, Konzo, Kieran, Entity, Waitsy, Axelot and Malvin got penalties. But we know that instant returning Axelot will be investigated by the stewards, I think. I'm almost certain it's going to be investigated by the stewards. If it's not, I do not know why. But, yeah, our safety car predictions are now definitely out of the window. But there we go. It's time for you to get your predictions in the chat on who you think's going to win this one. And Callum in the chat was saying rip about his incident earlier. Things happen, Callum. Things happen around Brazil. There was many times in my race where I almost retired. But luckily the car just about saved me. But it happens. But anyway, I think the safety car will be in, I think, next lap. As I think...
Don't worry,
what's
Callum.
going on there? Oh, Arnold's going to get disqualified. What the hell's got...
Oh, he's managed to let the safety car back through, but J. Cole's also snuck through as well. He's got back ahead of J. Cole. Hopefully,
It's very
no
weird.
penalties to play.
Probably the weirdest thing I've seen. Okay.
And what I was going to say to Callum and Arnold is, don't worry about that thing. I mean, I was very known for DNF and back in the day, so don't you worry about it. One DNF does not equate.
Exactly. Well, this was one of the lovely features we just saw of the safety car not catching up to the leader like we saw in Miami with Lando Norris. Max Verstappen. A lovely feature these days on F1 24. Safety car's in this lap for the third time today.
Do you know what, Jess? One thing I'm interested in seeing.
Yes.
That man in 7th place. Catboy Kieran, a set of the soft compound tyres.
Oh, I don't think he'll get to the end, though.
It's going to be interesting, though.
It is going to be interesting. Maybe there's another safety car. You never know. Anything can happen. But let's watch Arnold. He's probably thanking his lucky stars that a safety car has come out. And he could get those memes to the end. But he's got penalties. I won't get the penalties out on screen. You're going to have to guess. But anyway, we're about to go green once again here at One Hub Racing for the 4th time tonight. And Jake already gets past Samster, but it might be an illegal overtake. We'll have to wait and see. So it's Arnold from Jacob and Cashman. And from Samster and Papa Squad just had made a bit of a contact. Kieran's dropped down to 9th. Well, commentators curse Mr. Mike Edwards. Kieran's down to 9th already.
Yeah, and I think I saw the hand of rage go up in Papa Squanch's car, so I think potentially a little bit of contact between himself and Kieran there through turn number 1. As Samster unable to get the move done on Cashman. Lukey up into P7 right now, looking at the back of Konza here, and of course Konza, a driver, is currently in P6, no penalties to his name. He's looking to jump up quite considerably towards the end of the race, as long as he can stay in this train.
Yes, as long as he can stay in this train, he could still be in potentially for maybe even their best result of the season as well. If you're in penalty range, you're in a good position. Kira could still potentially get a podium, even though he had that little bit of an off. But again, there could be penalties investigated by the stewards. Kieran then on the back of Lukey. It's going to be, I think, 3 wide. Lukey's going to have a response to this as well from Konzo. Reed is past Konzo, up into 6th place, and he's going to try and get that top 5 position that he really wants and creams at the moment. Jake's looking very handy for the win of this race so far. That safety car has helped him quite a bit. Kieran to the inside of Konzo and towards turn 4. He breezes past him.
Oh, a beautiful switchback from Lukey through to Cedar Delago on Papa Squanche. And Papa Squanche's going to fight back on the run up the hill through Ferrazula. Side by side they go. As Lukey all the way around the outside. Little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but Lukey gets that position. What a move from the Aston Martin.
I caught the end of that, but not all of it. But Lukey he's on fire at the moment. Yes, I know he's got a 10-second penalty, I believe. No, he's only got 3 seconds. He moved that in the pits. He's got 3 seconds, but there's people around him that got way more than that, and he can still get a decent result from it. So watch this space, everybody, with what's going on here as we're about to start lap 26 of 36. or go for your penalties there, just in case anyone is jeffing. Arnold and J. Cole on 3 seconds. And speaking of J. Cole, there's a bit of banging wheels between these two and Jake. As Jake gets through J. Cole up into second place. Clean race between the pair of them. But Jake's got no penalties, but J. Cole does. 3 seconds for J. Cole, Samson and Lukey and Arnold. 10 seconds for Papa Squanch. 3 seconds for Casper and 3 seconds for Marvin. Everyone else completely penalty free. I don't know about warnings. Unfortunately, I will tell you once I hear more from it, as Atzlock has had a little bit of an off as well. He's down into 13th spot, but this is going to be game on for all these drivers. Casper gets another penalty as well, and yeah, it's going to go crazy from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, another thing, obviously, that you mentioned at the beginning of the spring qualifying is, of course, the track limits and how they sometimes can give you an unfair warning and everything. So I wonder if we'll be seeing any of them get appealed in the steward's office a little bit later. 'Cause making sure you keep your warnings down. If you do have one of those unfair warnings, then that could be 3 seconds removed, and you could jump you up a fair few places here.
Yeah, I think we could see a few other warnings potentially as well if we're not too careful. But for some people, they can't be bothered if they get like more warnings that are fair, then they can't do that. As here we go. As I said about warnings, they're getting more penalties. So let me shut up about penalties. As here comes Lukey, as he chases down Samster once again past the sausage curb. And they're going to go up the hill again in towards turn 5. 5 was Lukey. Just play it safe for this one, because I think Samster could defend quite hard here.
Yeah, but he's got an 11-lap fresher tyre, says Lukey. I mean, Samster's defending like an absolute champion right now, but Lukey with that grip advantage is just going to be able to absolutely swamp him at these corners.
Yeah, I think he could, and we'll get the tyre advantage for you here, so just so you can see. And I think, yeah, I agree. Lukey with a tyre advantage. That was close from Samster. Lukey gets ahead, so does Kieran. Lukey's up to 4th, Kieran's back up into 5th. Kieran's in a net P2, but you can see Arnold, he's only got 3 seconds, and if he can find at least 5 attempts, he can win this race. Oh, keep spun! Ew!
I did not see that.
Kieran's at a moment, he's going to be chasing Entity now. I think both he and Lukey made a little bit of contact. Oh my goodness. As Casper trying to get past Papa Squanch. Papa Squanch is leaving no room to chance it. He's going to do the up and over potentially. This is insane stuff. Casper to the right hand side. Bit of a swerve. Oh, it's like he's doing rallycross.
Tell you what, I think the only driver right now inside that top 5 that has a chance of catching Arnold right now is Lukey. Lukey has to get through on both J. Cole and Cashman.
But Lukey's got a 3-second penalty as well.
I know, but it's one of those ones in there where if you're J. Cole and Cashman, do you allow Lukey a little bit more leeway so he can try and tow you closer to Arnold so you can actually battle towards the end of the race? So do you try and fight tooth and nail to keep old position right now?
Oh, Casper's past Papa, but they're making a bit of contact once again. There we got, I think, Entity in this as well. Oh my God, J. Cole's past Cashman. And Arnold's within the 3 seconds. So if these guys keep squabbling, they can't keep squabbling. Here comes Lukey. Sorry about that. I'll have a bit of a cough there. Lukey tries to get to the inside. Jake's made a mistake.
Cashman with a huge lock up there. J. Cole with a 3-second time penalty. And now, contact. Wheel-to-wheel contact there between Cashman and Lukey, but Cashman able to hold on to that position in P4 without losing his car.
Their life depends on it at the moment at this rate, doesn't it? Oh
well, now we're going to see if Lukey's got the pace to catch Arnold here, because with DRS, he should be able to get past on J. Cole. And now it's going to be...
He just has the same grip as well.
Yeah, it's going to be how much pace does Lukey have versus Arnold. As here goes Lukey up in the P2. Job done for the Aston Martin, and now he can try and begin his hunt.
Yes, he can try and begin his hunt indeed for a potential race win or maybe even a podium as Kieran gets another penalty. This is not going to be the last penalty that we see. Kieran, once again, I know his softs are starting to die, but he's going to give us a good showing anyway in towards turn 4. Oh, my goodness. This is crazy stuff from these guys once again. But don't forget, top 12 do score a point in One Hub Racing, and that's what they're trying to fight for right now. But some of these guys are trying to fight for podiums, and as long as they can keep it clean, they should be absolutely fine. But we don't know what the result.
On the inside of Axlock.
Wait, see on the inside of Axelot. Yes, Axelot defending for his life here.
Can't wait to get this done. He has the inside line. He'll have the inside for Jun Chao as well. And Axlock, he's going to have to concede that position. Maybe look for the better exit. He's got the better exit. It's to climb up the hill now. And looks like for the second phase of the traction, waits, he's just about got it. But with DRS, here comes Axlock as Cashman gets through on Sam stuff for P4. Will we see a double McLaren overtake here? As looks like Axlock, no, he's just going to sit in behind Waitsy for the time being. He knows he's going to jump him on penalties in the end.
Yeah, I think Axlock, if I was him, I would play absolutely safe. As we've got a battle for second place once again, as J. Cole's past Lukey.
I tell you what, these hard compound tyres on Lukey right now, paying absolute dividends to him because he's able to compete with these guys, especially as the mediums are getting more and more worn as the laps go on. Oh, big rear lock up there for J. Cole. And Lukey, obviously, has to sit in behind. He can't go for an overtake there, but my God, J. Cole, big rear lock up there. And I think I need to stop mentioning his name because I feel like I'm commentator cursing him right now.
I think we're commentators cursing everybody today. Not just him. It's insane. Absolutely insane. But I think these two are going to be fighting until the cows come home. So this is attempt number 1,000,000 for Lukey, it seems, as they head towards the start-finish straight. And he's got him, but does J. Cole have DRS? No, he doesn't. So that's timed very well for Lukey. DRS chicken is definitely going to come into effect here. And all this is helping on now really increase the gap here. Catboy Key is past Papa up into 8th place, but bearing in mind again the penalties could really come into play right now. I'm trying to sort out my food at the same time, so do apologise. Kieran, oh, having a bit of a slide. Oh my goodness. Oh, Malvin's been disqualified from the session. Too many penalties.
Do you know what? I got an interesting battle that is about to brew, and this will be for the final podium position. Both of these drivers, no penalties to the name. Cashman, 16 lap old mediums. Entity, 10 lap old mediums.
Oh, now that is interesting. How is Samster? How is Samster on 21 lap old mediums? That is just crazy. J. Cole's on 21 lap old hard, and his hard is working to perfection right now. So fair play to him. So the gap now, 4.3 seconds. I don't think anyone's going to respond to Arnold unless Lukey and J. Cole get a move on. Let us know in the chat who you think should be driver of the day. You can, well, the drivers will be voting on that as well. Again, we'll have to wait and see what happens. As we've got J. Cole. Past Lukey.
Oh, the inside on Cashman. This could be for a podium position, yeah. And remember, if Arnold does somehow pick up another 3-second time penalty in this race, see, it could be a crucial position for potential race win.
Yeah, so they've got to get a move on with a few laps to go. So we are getting some racing eventually, and I don't think we're going to get any more safety cars. So there we go.
If a safety car was deployed right now, Entity and Cashman, Axlock and Konzo will be absolutely loving life with no penalties to their name.
Yeah, I think they must be loving life. They were hoping for another safety car, but they're not going to get one. So we're about to start. Well, we're just starting lap 34. Lukey to the inside once again. Gets past J. Cole. They've got to be careful they do not get any more penalties, because that will benefit the ones trying to chase them down. As Casper... Oh, Samster's round again. Samster's down to last now. Oh, my word.
Yeah, 23 lap old mediums as Papa Squanch is out of the race as well. And that's coming through the center S's. I think he might have made contact with the back of Samster's car, perhaps. and just elected to retire for the race. Personally, if I was Papa Squanch, I would have just kept on going. You're still in for a point. You can go for the fastest lap as well.
Yeah, he could have gone for fastest lap, but that means Sam's just going to get fastest lap no matter what now, outside the top 10.
I don't know. He needs to keep his car in a straight line first.
He's got a penalty. Please, just Sam's to stay in the race. He's not got a punch, has he? Yeah. Get to the pits.
Puncher.
Yeah, get to the pits. Go for softs. Go fastest lap. Go for softs. Good. You could get to the end of this race if you're that. I don't think you're gonna get lapped anyway, so you should be fine. Oh my goodness.
Axel goes through on Catboy Kai there for P7 as they're actually battling with the centre S's. Fantastic stuff going on right now. And the Catboy Kai showing Axlock there the inside curb in and saying, oh yeah, you're not getting through on me like that, mate. Even though I got this penalty, I'm gonna make you work for it.
I think everyone's pretty much working for it right now, which is absolutely crazy, especially in the final few laps of this Grand Prix. Casper gets it. I'm going to get the penalties on screen. It's just like no tomorrow. One person gets penalty. One person gets penalty. J. Cole, by the way, has got 6 seconds.
I just want to say as well, big mistake from Samster. He did not come into the pits to put on the fresh set of softs.
Oh, for God's sake. Samster, what are you doing, man? I don't think he's going to finish this race.
I think there's definitely going to be a punch on Scuderia Ferrari, and honestly, we're used to real life Ferrari strategy going out the window, but
yeah, this strategy is definitely going out of the window now.
Yeah, absolutely. As Entity gets back through on Cashman up in the P4, or I should say a net P2 at the moment. As Entity runs deep. Remember, they can't afford to battle too much because look at that gap. It's 2.5 seconds back from J. Cole.
Yes, there's J. Cole and Lukey switching positions again on the final lap of the race. These two keeping it tidy. Jake gets past Entity in towards turn 3. The order is not going to change up front, but Lukey's going to get second anyway. So they're just fighting for the fun of it, really, to be honest. By the way, we've got 11 drivers so far that are going to finish this race. So we've had 6 retirements so far. Because that's a lot. Close it in. Oh, but we've got that on Kieran. Oh, that was so close. So close. But Arnold has got a few corners to go. Arnold has only joined the league at lunchtime. And we didn't think he was going to be doing that well because he didn't have that much practice. But he says, who cares? He wins his first race in One Hub by 5 seconds. Well, pretty much 8 seconds because of Lukey's penalty. But Lukey drops down to 3rd, Jake in 2nd, NC with his best result in 4th, J. Cole in 5th, Atslot 6th, then it's Konzo, Kieran, Waitsy, Casper, and then Samster. Samster did not get a puncher. Somehow.
But he did miss out on the fastest lap of the race, and
but he still gets a point because he's 11th and everyone else DNF'd.
Yeah.
But he would have probably wanted fastest lap anyway. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bit of argy-bargy in that race, I have to say. Probably not the cleanest races I've seen in One Hub history. But I would expect the stewards' room to be very busy in the next few days, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Stewards are definitely going to have their work cut out for them. I can confirm that the fastest lap did end up going the way of Catboy Key.
There we go. So Kieran getting the fastest lap there. So they get a point. So let's go for your order then. Arnalf and Kajman, Lukey, Entity, Jacob, Atslot, Konzo, Kieran, Wade C, Casper, your top 10. Samster, Papa Squanch, Tony, Callum and Arms. From Tony downwards, they unfortunately have retired from this Grand Prix.
Papa downwards, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Papa downwards, yeah, because he retired the last few laps. So yeah, Papa downwards have retired from this Grand Prix. So Tony, unfortunately, is not going to do the double. But I think the one that gained quite a bit were the likes of Lukey. Obviously, another podium for him. We got to pick our driver of the day. There's quite a lot to choose from, but there was a lot of argy-bargy going on. But Mike, I'll let you go first. Who is your driver of the day, and what would you like to ask him?
I'm torn between two drivers right now.
Do you want me to go first whilst you think?
Yeah, go on, because you might
Because
choose one and I can choose the other.
Yeah, because I've got one, and you're probably going to guess who it is as well. It is the driver who... I'm going to go for the boring choice, unfortunately. I'm going to go for the driver who got the win by some miracle, but the safety car did help him by a shadow of a doubt, but he still managed to keep it clean throughout the entirety of the main race. And yes, my driver of the day goes to Arnold, and my question is, did you think you would get your first victory in One Hub and this season on your first ever race this season? Or did you think it was going to come later on in the season? Now over to you, Mike.
Yeah, your pick did not help me at all.
Sorry.
Your pick didn't help me. So I've gone for a little bit of an outlandish pick.
You
for my
always
driver of the
do.
day. Yeah, I always do. But I'm gonna give my driver of the day to a driver that is not regularly seen up there battling for podiums, but today
Entity?
he is Entity. I am gonna give my driver of the day to Entity, and of course my question to him, first off, fantastic result, your best finish of the season so far. Did you expect at the final safety car to be able to be in a position where you are battling for the podium in the end?
That is a good question. Good pick, I have to say. So, we are going to have to leave it there for the time being. We'd like to say thank you to all our sponsors, Next Level Racing, SimGrid, Vespa Team, Pure Sim Gear, and Mental Health Foundation. Next week, normal proceedings, no more sprint races until obviously United States. But we have got, on the 6th of October, the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya, exactly the same place where all of the drivers did the quali night. So it's time for the commentators, at least, and the viewers at home to see just how far a lot of these drivers have come since the qualifying night back in July. I thought I was wondering if it was my end, it was my internet, but never mind. But anyway, that is my cue. But on that bombshell, that's my cue to end the stream. So thank you so much. Thanks to Mike for joining me in the commentary box. Hopefully, no more technical issues next week, please. Otherwise, I'll end up dying. Not literally, of course, but we will see you next week, same time, 7 p.m. for the Spanish Grand Prix. Hopefully, with less technical issues. Good night.
Good night.